Good evening, I'm Chris Glover. An 11-year-old girl is tonight in stable condition after being struck by a city bus in Mississauga. At first, police said she had life-threatening injuries, but her condition has since improved. Nama Weingarten is on the story for us. And Nama, this all happened steps away from a school just as kids were being let out for the day.
Yes, Chris, we're right outside Lisgar Middle School. This is where the young girl was struck by the bus right here across the street around 2:30 p.m. today. All this happening in the area near 9th Line and Dairy Road here in Mississauga. Now, police told us that there's no evidence suggesting that the driver did anything out of the ordinary here in terms of how he was driving. Police have now just cleared the scene. And just based on all of the evidence that they gathered so far, here's what they had to say about what they believe could have led to this.
What we believe now is that the child did cross the street in the path of the bus, and at the time, 2:30, it would have been quite busy here with vehicular traffic and pedestrian traffic as school was letting out.
Now, as you mentioned, Chris, the young girl's condition has stabilized since earlier today. She was initially treated here at a local hospital in Mississauga, but since then she was transferred to Sick Kids. Now, police did tell us that so far they have cleared the roads. The roads were closed just earlier today, and those have reopened. And, you know, just given that all of this was happening just as kids were leaving school for the day, they told us that this left the community in just quite a shock.
Of course, it's a shock to anyone. It's a shock for the transit operator. It's a shock for her poor parents, a shock for her, and residents in the area, parents that were here picking up their kids, probably very, very grateful that it wasn't one of their.
Now, the young girl was struck by a My Way bus, which is operated by the city of Mississauga. Now, the driver did remain on the scene and collaborate with investigators. And the city did tell us in a statement that the school did not have a cross guard right here where this happened. But the cross guard program in Mississauga, the city mentioned, is meant for elementary schools, whereas this is a middle school. And of course, you know, with this happening right on Halloween day, kids are roaming the streets, going trick-or-treating, and police are reminding people to stay careful as they're driving around. Chris?
An important reminder for everyone. Nama, thank you so much. Meantime, a 65-year-old school bus driver has been charged in the death of a 6-year-old who was struck by the bus she was driving back in June. The collision happened in the Vaughan suburb of Kleinburg on one of the last days of school. Police said at the time the bus driver remained on scene and was cooperating, and she has been charged with dangerous driving causing death. We're learning more about the fatal police-involved shooting of a 17-year-old in Aurora yesterday evening. Police were responding to an alleged break-and-enter at the time, and Ali Chiasson has all the details.
That's the sound of the gun battle between York Regional Police and a 17-year-old boy. Right when this quiet street in an Aurora neighborhood erupted into chaos around 8 p.m.
We heard gunshots for quite a little bit, probably around like 5 minutes-ish of time, and then I started to see stretchers get pulled out, and a body was taken away.
Police say the teen was the suspect in a break-and-enter a few doors down.
We saw on our doorbell cops kind of banging at the door, cops and a SWAT team, and we were scared, obviously. Kind of asked them through the doorbell what was happening. They wouldn't give us any information, just asked us if we were home or if anyone was in the home that shouldn't be.
The shootout ended right in front of their door.
There was definitely some damage done to our house, and there was a gun on our driveway.
That firearm allegedly belonged to the 17-year-old.
I saw a young man running with the gun and shooting because I see that lights from the gun coming out and running here towards the other house and was shooting towards some policemen.
This woman says she saw the whole thing from her window.
What did you hear?
Put the gun down, put the gun down. But he was responded, "F you, f you."
The SIU isn't releasing any information about the 17-year-old. Media pushed them for answers, including whether the teen was from the area.
At this early stage of the investigation, we will not be releasing that information. We need to interview some more, and we'd like to hear from them what they saw, what they heard, and what they know before we release any other information.
The most pressing unanswered question, how a call for a break-and-enter escalated to this. Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Aurora.
An update now on a story we first brought you last Friday. A 19-year-old woman has now been charged with second-degree murder after her baby died following a house fire. Police say it happened at a home near Trethewey Drive and Eglinton Avenue West just after 1 a.m. The woman and her 4-month-old daughter were pulled from the residence. The baby was rushed to hospital and was pronounced dead. The woman was transported to hospital with serious injuries, and she has now been charged with second-degree murder and arson with disregard for human life. To Whitby now, where a dog is dead after being shot this morning. Durham police say a person who showed up at a Toronto hospital with gunshot wounds is a person of interest in the investigation. Brittany Billette has the full story.
Durham Regional Police Service say officers responded to the sounds of gunshots at this building on Thursday morning. It happened at around 7:20 a.m. near Mary Street East and Garden Street. They say officers on the scene found a dog suffering from a gunshot wound. That dog later died at an emergency vet clinic. Police say their investigation is ongoing and officers have already identified one person who they say could be connected to the case.
We received a call from the Toronto Police Service. They had a gentleman walk into a local area hospital with a gunshot wound. He was then transported to a Toronto area trauma center. And right now, investigators are just trying to piece together if he is the victim from our scene this morning.
Residents in the area say they're upset to hear about gun violence in their neighborhood, but they're not surprised. They've seen police here before.
Just really sad, but it's just like I said this earlier. It's the same old story of, super sad, but, could have been avoided. You know what I mean? Everyone is always sad when it happens, but nobody seems to care about all the befores.
This neighbor says he's also seen officers at the building and hopes this time is different.
I hope that justice is served. I hope somebody is held accountable for what's happened. It's the first time this has happened, but it's not the first time police have been called and whatnot. So something needs to be done rather than just another slap on the wrist and be like, all right, you can come back and do whatever.
Officers say they're looking for more potential victims, but they don't have a suspect description just yet. Investigators say they'll be looking for witnesses and video surveillance in the area. Brittany Billette, CBC News, Whitby.
In Toronto, police are investigating an early morning crash between a TTC bus and a pickup truck. The collision near Yonge and Finch sent 8 people to hospital with serious injuries, and Clara Pasica picks up that one.
Steps from Yonge and Finch, those heading to the subway station or nearby businesses this morning, got a closer look at the aftermath at what unfolded in the early morning hours. A Dodge Ram pickup has its side ripped off, metal and glass spilling out. The smashed door of the pickup now stuck on the front of a TTC bus several meters away. Here's Toronto police with a little more about what unfolded.
This morning at 4:20 a.m., Toronto Police, along with other emergency services, responded to a collision at Yonge Street and Finch Avenue. Information is that a pickup truck collided with a TTC bus, resulting in injuries to 8 people, including the driver of the TTC bus.
Police say the male driver of the pickup truck tried to flee the scene on foot but was apprehended by police not long afterwards. They've also shared that he was one of the people who was injured and taken to hospital. Paramedics have shared that there were multiple injuries, including 3 people who were taken to a nearby trauma center with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. And the TTC has shared that one of the people taken to hospital was the driver of the TTC vehicle, along with multiple passengers. Those who live and work in the area say seeing the scene is unnerving.
It's really devastating to see a crash of this degree. It's pretty evident that there was individuals hurt. I'm really glad to hear that no one's actually passed, but it does seem that many people have gone to the hospital. You can see that the scene is quite devastating, so absolutely, it is really scary to have it happen where you are every single day, where there's many people around at all times. So absolutely, that road safety piece is huge and it's pretty terrifying.
Police are asking anyone with any information to contact them. Clara Pasica, CBC News, Toronto.
We are now just a couple of weeks away from the first of 6 Taylor Swift shows in our city, and the pop star will be taking over the Rogers Centre for 2 straight weekends in November. And as Greg Ross tells us, city staff say they are prepping for a huge influx of people coming here to be part of all of it.
It took nearly 2 years, but the Eras Tour is finally coming to Toronto.
We've seen the excitement generated in each city on this tour, and it's our turn now.
City staff have put in months of preparation for the arrival of Taylor Swift. The city is expecting Swift to bring with her hundreds of thousands of loyal fans, also known as Swifties.
We are anticipating fully up to 500,000 people, 500,000 people coming into Toronto from outside for the Eras Tour.
It's expected to have a huge economic impact on the city at a time when tourism is typically a lot slower.
We're anticipating $282 million. That is driven by $152 million in direct spending. And notably, again, we expect of that spending, fully 93% will be dollars brought into this market by visitors coming here to Toronto, which is very, very important.
Swift will play 6 shows over the course of 10 nights. There will also be a number of Taylor Swift-themed events planned around the city on concert days, including a tailgate party at the convention center.
We've got daily dance parties and sing-alongs, silent disco that will be featured in a full-size subway car. There's going to be trivia held, live DJs, stage performances.
Keeping the city moving is going to take a collaborative effort between city staff, the police, and public transportation services. On concert days, the city will be setting up a limited activity zone in a large area of the downtown core that surrounds the Rogers Centre. In addition to closing down some of the streets inside that zone, all non-emergency construction or any other work that requires a street occupation permit will be put on hold. The affected area will stretch east and west between Jarvis Street and Bathurst Street, and between King Street and Queens Quay north and south. The area will be restricted between 1 p.m. and 1 a.m. every concert day.
Restricting traffic in and out of the area around the Rogers Centre is a key part of ensuring the safety of tens of thousands of people arriving and departing from the stadium.
Both the TTC and Metrolinx will be expanding their service on concert days.
I want to encourage residents and visitors to plan ahead and, if possible, take public transit, rideshare, or bike share to and from the concert rather than driving.
Toronto Police will also be bringing in additional officers to the impacted area. They're expecting large crowds around the Rogers Centre on show nights.
For Swifties, we are strongly discouraging non-ticket holders from gathering outside the venue, as there will be no fan zones set up, and we want to keep those areas as clear as possible.
Swift will have shows on November 14th, 15th, and 16th, and then she'll return the following week for 3 more shows on the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
So the sun has set on the spookiest day of the year. From robots and princesses to a bunch of bananas, GTA classrooms were filled with students and teachers clad in their Halloween best. We stopped by one school today to check out this year's costumes.
Hi, I'm Queen of Hats. We are here as a bunch.
Happy Halloween! It's going great. The morning started off with a bang and we're having a wonderful time. It just brings the community together, school spirit. We have a number of these. This is just the one that kicks off the year. Parents get to see other parents. Parents show the spirit by dressing up, and it brings our community together for a good cause.
It's everything for the kids. This is fun. It's fun for them. They love to dress up, and so it's nice to have a whole big parade for this. It's awesome.
They're great. They're doing their best, showing all their imaginary. So they are great, yeah.
Everybody loves Halloween. She's a witch, and her sister's a witch too.
Yeah, here at Oriole Park we go bananas for Halloween.
What's this? What's up, buddy? Wow. How you doing?
Good. Grayson, you look like me.
Yeah, I do look like you. Your mustache is better though.
Yeah.
Looks just like him. You remember that little guy? That is Grayson from Greg Ross's story earlier this week. And there he was with the man himself. He dressed up as Austin Matthews' hockey card for Halloween and got to meet him at a Leafs practice this week. Welcome back. The number of places you can pick up a cold one in Ontario has grown today. 412 more grocery stores in the province are licensed to sell beer, wine, and ready-to-drink cocktails. The Premier says it's all about giving more options to Ontarians.
We're focused on building Ontario, creating more economic opportunities for people and companies like Costco and other retailers. There's over 400 more retailers selling wine and beer now. I think it was 4,500 convenience stores, 4,600.
Yep. Big number.
Yeah, so
Game changer.
there's going to be freedom and choice for the first time in 100 years.
Big box retailers like Costco, as you can see here, are included in the rollout, leaving some smaller grocers unhappy with the changes. They say they don't have the space in store or the money to run the province's mandatory bottle return program. Only some stores who are within 5 kilometers of a beer store location are temporarily exempt from the recycling program. Questions to the government continued at Queen's Park today about the province's dismal housing projections. New housing starts are set to drop again this year. The stat showed up in one line of the fall economic statement, but the housing minister insists the province can still hit its target of 1.5 million homes over 10 years. Queen's Park reporter Lorenda Redekop has that story.
Housing crisis worse by the day. 6 years wasted.
Some new homes are being built in Ontario, but the projection is down to 81,000 this year. The province's goal was 125,000.
Housing starts are down.
Order.
Costs are up. But instead of doing his job, the Premier keeps blaming everyone but himself.
Earlier, the Premier pointed to high interest rates as part of the problem. The other issue, he said, high development fees by some municipalities.
There's other municipalities just won't build. So, they need to step it up.
Hello, how are you guys?
His housing minister says the government can reach its 10-year goal for home building.
I'll meet that target and I'll remove obstacles so that I reach that target. We will not fail on the goal of building 1.5 million homes.
He points to what the government has done, such as cutting the cost to add sewer and water to new communities to spur more building. But even in the years ahead, while numbers are set to go up, housing starts still won't come close to the target, according to projections. For 2027, it'll be 95,000. As for the Premier blaming interest rates, the Liberals point to high housing starts in some other provinces, such as Alberta.
This government cannot build houses when interest rates are up. They also cannot build houses when interest rates are down because we've seen repeated interest rate drops over the past year.
For an approval
The organization representing developers says one difference, application approvals, which can take years in some municipalities here.
Approvals in Edmonton and Calgary happen in, under 6 months. So we have a very different process.
It's been pressuring both the province and cities to do more to speed that up. One housing advocate puts the responsibility on the province.
Is the government with the most tools to solve the housing crisis in Toronto and Ontario is the provincial government, and voters and citizens have largely gone to blaming the federal government and the municipal government.
A couple of the ideas from opposition parties. The Green Party says the government needs to allow more housing density along transit lines. The NDP says the government should get directly involved in building affordable housing so that it's not dependent on developers. But that's an idea the government doesn't agree with. Lorenda Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
All right, time for a short break, but stick around. We'll be right back with your extended weather forecast. All right, time now for a check on weather with who are you?
Can I get you some fries, Chris?
Yes. I mean, you brought the costume. You look
Yes.
fantastic, but did you bring a burger or something? Come on.
Just stand by and I'll take
Okay.
care
Oh.
of you, yes. I mean, I never worked at In-N-Out Burger, but I did work at A&W when I was younger. So I think I could
Practice
flip you a patty
I brought
there.
you something, Colette. Before you
let's
get
see.
into weather, we have a little CBC pumpkin here.
I love it.
Isn't that great?
Did you do that yourself?
I did not do that, no. It's been in the newsroom, that's all. What's going on
Well,
in
I'm
weather?
glad you brought it.
The kids are having a really nice Halloween out there. Hottest on record,
things
right?
have been pretty pretty great. I mean, incredible temperatures, right? So we have seen some records today kind of getting close, but perhaps not quite there, and some wet conditions, but windy conditions as well, but at least it was mild. And just having a look through the overnight hours, kind of what we can expect. We still have this weather statement because of the stronger winds and some of those gusts, 70 to even potentially 80 kilometers an hour. So the risk for power outages there, and also makes it difficult to hang on to an umbrella if you happen to have one in your hands. But the highs from today, so Toronto 23, 24 for Hamilton and St. Catharines as well, 23 in the Windsor area. And check out the nation's capital. Yes, 24 degrees today. Yeah, incredible conditions, but we are losing those because you see this deep trough in the jet stream. Yeah, that means that cooler air is going to filter in. So for the next several days, we are talking about some chillier conditions. Behind that cold front, winds still gusty overnight and through early tomorrow. And then in the afternoon, they'll be kind of from the northwest at about 20 to 40 kilometers an hour. So not exactly light, but just that direction change means the temperatures will be cooler. We'll have quite a bit of cloud cover as well. Don't worry, as we get into the weekend, Saturday we'll have that clearing, and so we get into more sunshine for at least the beginning of the weekend. But temperatures overnight tonight will fall by early tomorrow morning down to 8, 9 degrees, 7 for Hamilton, and then they don't change too much from there in terms of our daytime highs. So tomorrow afternoon we'll be lucky to be into the double digits. That's going to take a little bit of getting used to. Make sure you dress appropriately. But after this weekend, with the clocks going back Saturday night before you go to bed, we do have a spike in temperatures coming again, and that just happens to be at the beginning of next week. Now, Tuesday, 20 degrees. Yes, cloudy conditions. It looks like it's likely going to be kind of a one-day or kind of 1.5 day only event, though, with that warm up, Chris. Not like we've just had.
Yeah, a little roller coaster with the temperatures, but at least the kids got some nice weather tonight. And hopefully the scattered showers didn't bug them too much.
Yeah, exactly, right?
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and have a great night. Happy Halloween, everybody.